It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across the USA, we are Red Eye Radio. I'm Gary McNamara. He's Eric Harley. Good morning.
Hello.
All right, so I saw Biden over the weekend. Said he was asked a question, will you campaign for Harris? And he said, absolutely, I'll be out there campaigning for her. Except for his appearance and his speech at the DNC, which is expected to be Monday morning at 11 a.m. Well, we know he's going to give us Clintons are going to be there, Obama and Biden all going to have words, and you do have to ask the question, when are you going to put on Biden? Because the last thing Harris wants is Biden out there campaigning for her.
I assume that he'll be on Thursday night before her. That's just what I assumed, but I have no idea. I think Monday morning at 11 a.m. sounds more logical. Then you have actually you do it at like 7 a.m. There's nobody in the building yet. All the morning shows are like covering it, but only in the background. We're going to keep talking while President Biden is giving a speech. We're just going to keep talking about, hey, did you guys see the new viral cat video over the weekend? We know that the president's talking right now. But
you definitely do it before Joe Scarborough's band gets up there. And for people that don't know what I'm talking about, back in the 2000 Philadelphia Convention for Republicans, I don't even know what time of the day it was. All I remember, I was in the hall. And all of a sudden they're like, and can we please, because this is when he used to be he really was a rhino compared to where he is now.
Yeah.
Because it's not just that he's anti-Trump. He's as liberal as you can get.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget. It's like, and now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the Joe Scarborough Band? Like, what the hell is this?
What's the Joe Scarborough Band?
And it was a band. It was his band, and they were playing. It was like,
oh boy,
it was really bad. Yeah. I mean, it was really. I know. You know how I know it was really bad? Mm-hmm. I talked about it on my show and said the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
the dumbest thing I ever saw at a convention.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, personally,
yeah.
Booing God, the Democrats might have been.
But they've even gone further than that. So now who knows what it will be. I mean, clearly they'll boo Biden, I think.
Oh, my God. Could you imagine?
Okay,
that?
Because, here's what you have to do. You have to make him feel just like they did in the day that it was announced that he dropped out and the whole thing. He's such a patriot.
They'll cheer him.
No.
They will.
It will be the most patriotic president ever. We're thinking about a fifth face on Mount Rushmore.
Did you see some of those memes? It was the back of his head.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Walking away.
Exactly. And there's no way to get around the blue whale pod in the living room, because what do? If you put him on Monday morning, please put him on Monday morning at 7 a.m. during Good Morning America. If you put him on then,
we interrupt Morning Joe.
If you put him on
for
any
President
night,
Biden speaking at the convention at 7:15 a.m.
Well, here's the thing. She hasn't given many speeches except for the very same. She's actually only given one speech. She's just given it in multiple places. We covered that earlier in the show. If you missed it, you can listen to the podcast when it comes out later. But she's not good at speeches. Maybe he takes the primetime speech and does it for her. He is a liability. She is a liability, and Tim Walz is a liability. And there's no way to fix that between now and the convention. The only thing you do is you do what they've been doing. I just don't know. Look, I don't think it's going to be near as long as JD Vance's speech on Wednesday night or former President Trump's speech on Thursday night at the RNC, because you don't want that. If you're the DNC, if you're the Harris campaign, and probably if you're Kamala Harris, you don't want that much time on stage. You get straight to it. But what do? You've got a sitting president, and I'm guessing he's going to be the speech before hers. Or he caps it off on Wednesday night.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah,
It'll be very interesting to see what they do.
Anything outside of that is going to be, it's painfully obvious anyway. It's going to be cringe watching it just because of how this has all gone down. Because you're waiting for them to, all right, how are they going to try and paint it? How are they going to try? They say they're going to lean less on Hollywood. They actually need to rely on Hollywood in making up the fantasy of whatever the speeches are going to be contrived, however they're going to be contrived, however you're going to take this out of nothing and paint this big, I don't know what, fantasy of a Kamala Harris presidency. You better get the most well-respected minds in Hollywood. You need to call Steven Spielberg and all of them and say, we need your help on this. We've got to create something that isn't real again.
Well, they're limiting the celebrity appearances.
Yep.
The 4-day event scheduled to begin August 19th in Chicago will be selective over which celebrities it chooses to invite. The report came after the party has had a history of doing events with major celebrities, including one in June with George Clooney, Julia Roberts, and Jack Black, while President Biden was still seeking a re-election. We are living in the most personalized media environment ever, so it's crucial we are leveraging the unparalleled excitement around this historic ticket by doing everything we can to break through to the voters who will decide this election. You know what they realized? Again, there's two things they realized. Number one, they can't sell what they actually believe to the American public. And
right.
If they put somebody up there from Hollywood, it will remind Americans where they stand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the problem that they have. They've got to pretend across the board that who they are and what they stand for doesn't exist, even though it is the reality of who they are. That's what they're going to have to do.
Right.
And they understand it. And it all gets back to, and that's why we keep saying every Democrat listening right now understands it. The Democrat who called the other day understood it.
Mm-hmm.
He understood where they stand. Everyone knows that the Democratic Party right now is lying about everything. Right. About Kamala Harris, about where she stands on the issues, where the Democratic Party stands on the issues. They know it. And the reason they're doing this, to the point of it being so obvious to everybody, is because they believe that hiding her, and that's what they're doing, except for the same campaign speech over and over again, by her not telling you where she stands and have the campaign saying she stands 180 degrees on all these major topics from where she was just 3 weeks ago, they know she can't handle the cross-examination of it, because where she stands on, for example, on climate change. Just saw, again, another climate group. We stand behind Kamala. She just came out for fracking.
Right.
Why aren't they furious?
Right.
They know she's lying.
They know she's lying. Otherwise, they'd be,
right.
protesting at every turn.
Right. They know she's lying.
Yep.
And everyone knows that's where the parties are right now. Republicans, they don't need to lie where they stand on the issues. Everybody knows where they stand on the issues. Everybody knows where Trump stands on the issues. Now, one thing that we've said about the Republican Party and the Trump campaign, but the Republican Party in general for the longest time, is they don't know how to message correctly, right?
Yep.
How long have we said that? They finally found someone who is absolutely messaging correctly.
Yeah.
I will say, I am so happy that they have found just someone that I will happily say, after all these years, I might have been right then, but now I am wrong. Because JD Vance is messaging correctly. We're going to have you listen to this, but if you've listened to the show for any length of time, what have we said? Stick to the issues, know how to deflect. If they bring up something, go back to the issues that the American people want to hear because it's what they're most concerned about, and at the same time, take a shot at the media for not caring about those issues.
Right.
Are you ready?
All right.
Here we go. Here's JD Vance with Dana Bash on CNN.
You've now asked me 3 questions about comments that I made 3 years ago. I wonder what Kamala Harris thinks about the fact that she supported policies that opened the American southern border. I wonder what Kamala Harris thinks about the fact that she lied to the American people about Joe Biden's middle facility for the office. You are interviewing me, Dana, because I respect the American people enough to sit down for an interview.
I appreciate that.
Kamala Harris has been the nominee for 3 weeks. She hasn't sat down for a real interview.
Believe me, we are asking. You're not going to get a disagreement there.
But the point is, Dana, you've got me for 15 minutes or however long you have me. We should be talking about public policies that matter. How are we going to lower inflation? How are we going to reduce the cost of food and housing? How are we going to close down that southern border? We've talked so little about that. We've talked a lot more about a sarcastic remark I made 3 years ago. I think we should talk about the issues that most Americans care about.
J.D. Vance gets the red eye approach. You control what you say, period. They don't control what you say. They control the questions they ask. You control what you say, period. And what you heard, by the way, is not just deflection and going back around to the issues for the sake of deflecting and wanting to get around a question. It's getting back to the things that actually do matter. That's what people right now are concerned about. The biggest issues, the border, the economy.
This is what you and I have been screaming about that Republicans haven't been able to do, and we haven't thrown it all on Trump.
Right.
You know, Trump has had his own, he has had problems communicating effectively like that, but so has the rest of the Republican Party.
Right.
And so to have J.D. Vance so clearly lay out the red-eye template for well, it is.
It is.
It's exactly.
It is. And the thing is that we're not saying that the border and the economy is number one in voters' minds, in the American people's minds.
The
polls show it. The American people are saying it over and over again in the polls, overwhelmingly.
Yep.
And he's saying very clearly, Dana, you got me for a short amount of time. Let's talk about the things people actually care about. Because in my mind, I keep asking the question. As an independent, somebody who's undecided, I know it's hard to put our minds there for listeners that listen to talk radio, and certainly for you and I. But I always go back to but what are you going to do? But what are you going to do? But what are you going to do? With the person sitting in front of you, and in that moment, it's J.D. Vance. What are you going to do? Because J.D. Vance is important because Donald Trump, at the most, has 4 more years. And then you would guess that J.D. Vance is going to run and that he might be the future of the Republican Party and want to be president. Then it's important for him to be talking these issues and also be a good surrogate for the nominee at the same time for all of the reasons we have stated. And you control what you say at every turn. I don't care where you are, interview, debate stage, or your ad. Make it all the same.
J.D. Vance proves our point.
Yep.
There's no excuses.
There's no excuses. None.
You're in the arena of ideas. Learn how to discuss the ideas in the arena.
Very unafraid, very straight to the point. What you heard there is exactly what you want in every interview situation.
Right.
Every single one.
And he did what we have said, especially this: go after and attack the media.
Yep.
Because he didn't. I don't know any independent that saw that went, yeah, I want to know what you think about inflation. I don't care about what you said 3 years ago in a sarcastic sarcastic comment when that's been covered for the last month.
Right. Exactly.
And it was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful.
Yep.
And JD Vance did, 3 different Sunday morning news shows?
Yeah. Yep.
Doing a great job. And you know how critical. You've been a long-time listener to the show. Believe me, I've got the hate mail over the years because of saying message effectively.
Yep. And we've been doing
this is the first time in, I don't know, 15, 20 years.
I was going to say.
Maybe ever.
Maybe.
Where I have said and listened to somebody who's talked as much as he has over the last 5 days and of a Republican and say he didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
On his messaging.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
If I miss something, I'm sure somebody will let me know.
Yeah.
But I have not seen anything that he has not messaged correctly. For those of you who think, well, the guys, your expectations can't be reached. Yeah, they can be. They have been.
Just happened.
Yeah, you just heard part of it.
It's not impossible.
866-90-RED-EYE.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know.
8 decades for the U.S. Forest Service's symbol for wildfire prevention.
But I can only teach wildfire prevention.
And 2024 signifies the 80th anniversary of Smokey Bear and his iconic message.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
A long-form social media video is now available to honor Smokey, entitled Decades. Produced by longtime collaborators, the U.S. Forest Service, National Association of State Foresters, and the Ad Council, the video also features the new voice of Smokey, actor Brian Tyree Henry. The media is among various recognitions of Smokey's 80 years of service this year. More about the history and legacy of Smokey Bear is also found online at www.smokeybear.com. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. The other thing about the JD Vance appearances, he's been all over the place the last 5 days, as people know. But his tone was perfect.
Yeah.
No matter who he was talking to, his tone was perfect, and he came across as genuine and you know, not trying to play stupid in any way, but he was direct, which I guess you could say direct, blunt.
Mm-hmm.
He was honest. And he was able to deflect back to the issues that he knows the American public cares about, and at the same time went after the media for asking questions that they're not concerned about.
Yeah.
And the tone was the tone was perfect. The volume was perfect. JD Vance over the last 5 days, and I thought it should have been Youngkin, but the fact is I didn't know that J.D. Vance could talk the issues as well as he has, and that's the primary thing.
Yep.
Can you talk the issues? That's even more important than getting, somebody from Virginia, or we can get this state. If you can articulate in unison where the American public stands with you by landslide numbers, that's what gets you the victory. Wonderful appearances J.D. Vance had.
Right.
The show that never stops. Red Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. I just, by the way, download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you want. I couldn't turn on my microphone. I was kept pushing the button and missing. We found this audio, and I believe it's from 2014, because that's when Barbara Walters left The View. Now, this is The View with, you've got Barbara Walters, Whoopi, and Joy Behar still on, too. All right? I just want to play some of this because you and I are like, oh, my gosh. Donald Trump has not changed at all on the issues.
No.
Just listen to this. This is The View. All right? I wasn't intending to go here, but I found it just during the break. And somebody had posted it on social media, and I went, let me listen to it. You and I were listening to it in the break and said, okay, we got to play it. We just got to play it because it's just too good.
Yeah.
Just to show you how things change. And he has not changed on the issues.
Yeah.
If you listen to him here, it's the same thing that he's been saying for the longest time. Here we go.
Donald Trump is a billionaire, a real estate mogul, and a television star. But does he really want to add president of the United States to his resume? A lot of people would like him to. Please, let's find out, and please welcome my friend, Donald Trump.
We could end it there.
My friend, Donald Trump. No greater endorsement, right?
We could, and then the crowd, the standing ovation that he's getting. This is The View. All right, let's continue. Oh, man, I'm telling you.
Hello, darling. You're right.
Everyone's getting a kiss from Donald.
We're so happy to have you. Whenever you're on with us, we're very happy.
We love it.
Okay, so I'm going to take you at your word that you have not decided yet when you're going to run, but you're thinking about it, and you've expressed some of your views, which are controversial and in many ways, but not
to her.
Well, not to her. Okay, you're a Republican, but let's say that you do decide in the spring, right? And your ideas resonate so much. On the other hand, we saw Newt Gingrich apologizing for his marriages and divorces. You've had 3 marriages, 2 sort of uncomfortable divorces. Do you think that
not really. They were very comfortable.
Well, we won't review all that. Do you think that the country, that would bother anybody?
I think the country is doing so badly, they want somebody that's going to help it. I think the country is never been in a position like it is right now. It's being ripped off by every nation, every intelligent nation in the world, whether it's China. They're taking our jobs, they're making all our product, and then they loan us back the money, we pay them interest.
That is
whether
crazy.
It's OPEC, which is, I mean, they're having a field day right now. How about the Arab League? They say, we want you to go in and attack Libya. These are the wealthiest countries in the world. Why aren't they paying us?
Okay,
so then they change their minds also.
But you didn't answer my question.
No, I did answer your question. I really think people...
it won't matter?
I think maybe 10 years ago it would have mattered, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The fact is, I think people want somebody now that's going to protect them and protect this country, because we're not going to be a great country for long if we keep going the way we're going right now.
If you...
When we have... Barbara... When we have France leading the charge, okay? France, this is our new leader. By the way, they led for about 2 hours. After that, nobody's seen them. I don't know if you know that or not.
Geographically, so they should.
Let me just ask a follow-up question to that.
Lead is the point.
Let me just ask a follow-up question to that. Let's say you run. You've given a lot of thought for this. Who would you like as your vice president? Possibly Sarah Palin?
Well, I think it's far too early even to discuss that. I'm going to make a decision sometime prior to June. I'm thinking about it very strongly. I think I'd do a really good job. I think I'd protect this country like it's not being protected. You know, it's funny. So many of the things I say, now politicians are saying, hey, that's right. Why aren't they paying us? If you look at North Korea, South Korea, we're protecting South Korea. They're making a fortune. Let's call it hundreds of billions of dollars of profit on us. We have 25,000 soldiers over there protecting them. They don't pay us. Why are they paying us?
You'd be treating this like a business.
No, a business with heart.
Okay.
Believe me, there's a lot of heart. It's a business, but it's also a business with heart. We will destroy this country. It won't be a war. If the economics of this country keep going the way they're going, we're not going to have a country.
You're kind of a social liberal, Donald. You know, you're a social liberal. Could you actually get the base to vote for you in the primary?
All right, I'm going to end it there. Just stop it there for a moment. That's Joy Behar talking very friendly with Donald Trump.
Right.
Asking a serious question in a very friendly discussion that, of course, the audience absolutely loves. Let's continue.
Well, every poll is saying that I'm the one that does the best. They're doing polls.
They actually have you a higher approval rating than Mitt Romney, Tim Pawlenty, John boehner. But out of those, if you're thinking of competition within the party to get the nomination, really your biggest competition will be, should you get the nomination, President Obama.
Well, I was the only one. A CNN poll just came out, as you probably saw, and I was the only one that was essentially tied with Obama. Everyone was 10 and 15 points down. So,
Okay, this would have been 2011 then.
We'll see. I haven't made a decision. I'll be making a decision, and I will do a good job if I decide yes and if I win.
There you go. It's 2011.
Right.
So,
interesting note that he legally got control of the phrase "Make America Great Again" the day after the 2012 elections. That's when he filed for it.
Wow.
We remember the 2011-2012 cycle. He was in Vegas talking to conservative women and threw a couple of F-bombs down, and we were like, nah, probably not. And there were things going on. There was basically, this would have been the summer of 2011, leading up to the fall of 2011 when everybody was jumping in, and he ultimately did not get in. But you hear, is there any greater radical daytime show than The View?
No.
And this, 2011 isn't that long ago. And the issues, as you started out with, he hasn't changed on the issues.
No, he hasn't. No.
And here, what's different here, by the way, than any other talk show, than most other talk show appearances that go back decades, Donahue, Larry King, Phil Donahue, Larry King, those would inevitably, are you thinking about running? Would you ever run? And then the second question right behind that would also be, what party? And here it was clear that he wanted to run as a Republican. They acknowledged that. Joy Behar, with a pretty serious question that a lot of people actually on the right would have asked him about that time. Well, you're more of a social liberal. So can you convince the party? Things like who would be your running mate? All of this. And what has changed is what the left will say and what they won't say anymore. What has changed is how the far left behaves. Not how he has talked. Not the things he believes in. It's them. Tell me why you couldn't have that conversation right there in August of 2024 on The View. I'll tell you why, because those on The View would never allow it. It's them. They decide what their attitude is going to be toward him. Because in that moment here, he wasn't the direct threat just yet. He was getting cheers and when he would say things.
He was getting kisses.
He got kisses when he walked
each
out.
and every one of them. And the only reason I bring that up is because when I got up to go to work last night, it was the Seinfeld episode where every woman in Seinfeld's apartment, once they put the pictures up so everybody knew who each other was, they were all kissing Jerry, and he didn't like it at all.
Yeah,
so
right.
That made me think about that, because they would not be allowing Donald Trump to kiss them today.
Jimmy Fallon nearly lost his job because he wanted to tussle his hair. Remember that? They were going to send him to Siberia.
And finally, you ready for this story? Got to have this story before we get out of here.
All
right. Here we go. The Pennsylvania Department of State has announced that the results of the state's upcoming election will not be known on election night.
Wow.
In a social media post, the department said Pennsylvanians won't always know the final results of all races on election night. Any changes in results that occur as counties continue, as it should be, they have countries, should be counties continue to count ballots, are not evidence that an election is rigged.
Yeah.
The post also included a link to a website dedicated to fact-checking claims about Pennsylvania's election process. The announcement echoes, well, I'm done at that point. There's no way with the modern technology we have today and or paper ballots itself why you cannot know who has won on election night. It's ridiculous.
Governor DeSantis in Florida posted that and reposted their post out of Pennsylvania, and he posted it and said in Florida, we can get it done, and we can do it accurately, transparently, efficiently. There's no reason you can't.
Nope. There's no reason you can't, except you don't want to.
You don't want to. This is part of the new political play. You know why? Because you want to lure somebody in and have them start making accusations and everything else. You want to get them going. It's the same reason that you put a muzzle as a judge on a former president about their case. You're daring him to say something. You want him to say something because you want to use your gauntlet. And in this case, Pennsylvania is just waiting for the Trump campaign to do something. Well, they may win very easily without Pennsylvania being counted. That's ridiculous. The people of Pennsylvania should be outraged over that. They don't care about counting your vote on time. They'll get to it in their own sweet time. That's absolutely insane.
And that's one of the reasons that when the longer that you take in something that everybody knows you can do that night.
Yep.
To take it. I mean, how long did some of these states go? Weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Without knowing. All you're doing is adding to the conspiracy theories. And as we have stated, that, well, conspiracy theories and sometimes the truth.
Right.
But the fact is the perception of election integrity is critical.
Yes.
And if you say we can't, we're already telling you months before an election, we're not going to have the results for you on election night.
By the way, you add this to what Fetterman said, that he believes it wouldn't matter who's running against him. He believes Trump is going to win.
Yeah.
Well, do the elections officials in Pennsylvania already know? Do they see the same internals Fetterman sees? Are they looking at this going, yeah, he's going to win, and we're just going to slow the roll?
Well, it adds to more conspiracy theories being put out there, pre-conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Because they're all a theory because it hasn't happened yet.
Yep.
Just amazing. And we're proud to announce.
Yeah. We'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah, they have the ability to do it. They just don't want to do it.
They don't want to do it.
866-98-RED-I.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. So will definitely be an interesting week. I'll tell you one thing that the Trump campaign should come out firing with. I don't know if they did over the weekend or not. I did not hear this being talked about. Was the layoffs?
Yeah,
Stellantis
right.
with the layoffs because of EVs.
Yep.
You know, that's one of the things you can hit because that was one of the promises. The millions of jobs that would be created because of electric vehicles. And we all know, no, the opposite will happen because it takes fewer individuals to produce an electric vehicle. So another 2,000 being laid off in Michigan.
That, and I saw a couple of more articles that focused on people going, we don't have the luxury of jobs being out there so that we can, look for another job if we think we need to. We can't hop around. We don't have that same kind of freedom because people are pulling back on those jobs. Those stories are getting more numerous. And yes, the campaign needs to hit on those hard.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.